This video is intended for educational purposes. Opinions made by me or the Sage Seeds AI are not investment advice. The balance sheet for FuboTV, very legitimate increases in liabilities coupled with not so solid increases in assets, are exactly the sort of detail that trained financial analysts want to notice. So we're definitely going to notice. Subscription revenue looks very healthy. Advertising revenue growth is also alive, all while the broadcasting and transmission expense is actually going down, since the company is principally focused on offering customers live TV streaming. Then I definitely want to know how Fubo is increasing revenue without increasing its broadcasting costs. Scrolling through the notes, another detail that I think is important is an almost $48 million increase in what is called affiliate fees. This could possibly explain some of the increased accrued expenses, as well as how broadcasting expense is decreasing. Affiliates are other media companies that handle broadcasting for you. And these two rows right here tell us that in the last season, Fubo did spend less broadcasting its own transmission and significantly more paying fees to affiliates. Whether relying on affiliate companies is good or bad really depends on the details of Fubo's current situation, and so trying to learn more about where this change is coming from, I have stumbled on a somewhat unusual financial note: subsequent events. December 29, 2023, just a handful of months ago, Fubo entered into a privately negotiated exchange agreement with certain affiliates, representing a huge chunk of all of Fubo's current assets. This was a rolling over of debt because the notes that no longer exist were due in 2026, and now Fubo has new notes that are due in 2029. It has extended its runway for debt payments. But as we look at the terms of these new convertible notes, we see a lot of protections baked in for the people lending Fubo money. This is not the terms that you expect a very healthy company to receive when negotiating the rollover of notes. It seems like the only clause favorable to Fubo shareholders that they've been able to get the affiliates to accept is a highly restricted covenant that won't even be considered in effect until after January 2nd, 2025, requiring a very high Fubo common stock price to be in effect for a very obscure amount of trading days. No, these 2029 convertible notes are very much costing Fubo equity tens of millions of dollars. I don't even have to look at the details of the 2026 notes to understand that Fubo was not going to be able to pay its debt in 2026. These new 2029 notes revealing desperation on the part of Fubo. The Investors Relation Department having to include this risk factor: we may require additional capital, and this capital might not be available on acceptable terms or at all. Within the risk factor, they specifically mentioned the 2029 notes that we were just looking at, but even worse, Investor Relations having to create a whole section of risk factors called risk related to the 2026 convertible notes. The first risk factor here is stating that the 2029 notes agreement is still an agreement and not actually completed yet. As of right now, Fubo still owes 2026 debt payments. It is actively trying to roll forward that debt by repurchasing the convertible notes, but not all of its affiliates have agreed yet. Some affiliates simply don't want to allow Fubo to borrow more money in the hopes that by 2029 they'll be able to pay to make good. As we learn more, it actually seems like so many of the affiliates are nervous about Fubo's ability to pay debt at all that there is a clause in the 2029 notes, the new ones, making it so that a default under the 2026 notes indenture could also lead to a default under the agreement for the new 2029 notes. They specifically say could, so there is more details that we haven't uncovered just yet, but the main idea is clear. Fubo is trying its hardest to roll over its debt, even with highly unfavorable terms. Affiliates are not thrilled about lending until 2029 to Fubo, and Fubo's best efforts to resolve this have led to a chance, but not at all a guarantee, that Fubo will not be bankrupt as soon as 2026. The terms of the 2029 notes place restrictions on operating in financial flexibility. And here we have the final piece of the puzzle. We can see that Fubo is not using affiliates instead of in-house broadcasting because it wants to. It is almost certainly a result of Fubo needing these affiliates to agree to not push Fubo into bankruptcy, which, as far as I'm able to tell by looking through this annual report, is kind of the best that Fubo can hope for, even though it's trying really hard to survive this. And I literally mean survive. Sports rights agreements abruptly end in 2028, dwindling all the way until then. And out of the hundreds of pages of this annual report, dozens and dozens of them are spent talking about potential legal proceedings. Fubo literally getting ready to sue as many people as they can in order to fill their piggy bank. All of these are the telltale signs of a company under serious financial stress. And so the mission that started in 2009 to aggregate the best in TV and transcend the industry's current TV model is very much in red alert status. Fubo might be able to get by with the patience of some of its most important affiliates, but unfortunately I looked through the entire report and did not see the specific names of these affiliates in order to look into that further. The financial statements do reveal payments to affiliates, and as financial analysts, it's up to us to piece them together and decide if we think those increasing affiliate payments are going to the same affiliates that Fubo is kind of desperate to get on the good side of. It's been really fun to work with the Sage Seats artificial intelligence output to make this video. Please like and subscribe. What do you think the ranking is going to be? Fubo is ranked centimeters away from dead last. It was the winner of the most overvalued of the 2023 season. Please check out that video if you have not already. And we just saw together how you get that award. Being maybe a year away from complete and utter bankruptcy is definitely a good start, but going down while suing everyone that you've ever worked with, begging your affiliates to give you just 3 more years, doing all that while calling yourself a technology company, best of luck to Fubo. There is still real chance that Fubo survives this. Have you tried FuboTV yet? How does it compare to other streaming options out there? Share this channel with your friends so that I can continue to make videos just like this one. Please remember to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram or X in order to get hints about future videos. And thank you for watching until the end.